know what Indiana Jones, the Lone Ranger, and Clark Griswold all have in common? If you said they were at least in part or all filmed in the San Luis Valley, then you're lying, because I know you didn't know that. But yes, they did indeed have part or all of those films filmed here in the San Luis Valley. In fact, there's been several movies, TV shows, made-for-TV movies, etc. that have been filmed in the valley, with a locale that has scenery from mountainous Wild West to desert prairie to high sand dunes. It's kind of got a little bit all for cinematography. Now, the first movie, it's more of an honorable mention, because they don't explicitly say that this scene takes place here. It's just one of those things that if you grew up here, you've heard about it. And that's National Lampoon's Vacation. In one of the montage scenes, as they're driving across the country in National Lampoon's Vacation, they stop at a Sonic, and the thing goes on the window, and it breaks the window, and then there's also a couple scenes of them camping. All of those were shot here in the valley. In fact, the Sonic scene was shot in Alamosa. That area still exists. It's no longer a Sonic, it's now a Jimmy John's, but it's still there. Now, next movie is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Had several of its key moments early in the film, filmed here in the San Luis Valley. The scenes where Indy is young, showing up what he was like growing up, and that whole train car scene they have, that was shot on the Cumbres and Toltec Railroad that runs between Antonito, Colorado, and Chama, New Mexico. And the scenes where he goes into his house and you get to see Sean Connery as his dad for the first time when he's really young, that house is still there in Antonito. In fact, you can rent it out if you want to stay at the house that Indy grew up in. This last one is a little bit of a sore note, because you see, they filmed near the entire movie here. In fact, the locals, we kind of wanted this movie to blow up and be a blockbuster, because we're like, yeah, that was filmed here. And in fact, it did not blow up and become a massive blockbuster. It hasn't aged well either, due to the controversies surrounding two of the lead actors in the movie over the years, and that's the Lone Ranger. Now, I wasn't living back in the valley at the time they shot this. I was living up in northern Colorado, so I missed my chance to be in the movie, because they used a ton of locals from the Creed and Western Valley area for the movie. In fact, every time I watch the movie, all the people in the background, it's a game of spot my friend I was drinking with the other night, because I know so many people that were in that movie, and we all had high hopes that it was going to take off, and it didn't. We knew early on that they were filming that here, or at least that they were going to film a movie, because we had a couple of the big stars in the movie, the two male leads, had been spotted walking around the area in the towns here. And word gets out pretty fast. This is a small rural area. You can't hide someone of that stature here. But it's less of a, oh my God, and look who it is, and more like, what the fuck are they doing here? Okay, hold on. Funny story about the Lone Ranger real quick. I had one of my friends that was in the production, got his ass straight up chewed off by Johnny Depp. You see, he was supposed to fire a gun. He was in a scene, background talent, mic'd in for a cue on when to fire the gun. They're still very loud, they still make smoke, they just don't do projectiles. So he's waiting for his scene as the scene's going, waiting for his turn to fire his gun. But he's not paying attention to where Mr. Depp is walking around, and as Mr. Depp comes up behind and to the side of him, he gets his cue to fire the gun, and promptly about blows out Johnny Depp's eardrums. And to this day, he is still very sore and bitter about getting his ass chewed by Johnny Depp. It's fucking hilarious if you know the guy. But those three movies are not the only productions that have taken place in the San Luis Valley and surrounding areas. In fact, when I went to go make this video, I thought this was going to be a short, sweet, simple list. I was kind of wrong, and more than a bit surprised, actually. So if you want to find out what Fast and the Furious 7 has in common with the original John Wayne's True Grit, then like and drop a follow. Also, if you're interested in the crazy stories of this weird valley in southern Colorado, from UFOs to cattle mutilations to Wild West shootouts to cannibals, then feel free to drop a follow and check out some of my older videos. We have had more than one cannibal, I've learned.